All right, the next connective that we are going to cover is called the disjunction. Excuse me. And a disjunction is when you see the word or, and the symbol for disjunction is the letter V, or it looks like a V. So let's say that H is we will build more hybrid cars, and F is we will use more foreign oil. I meant to use a different color. Sorry about that. Thought I clicked on purple. There we go. And then it says write the following statement symbolically. We will, the words we will build more hybrid cars, that is the H, okay? But they threw in the word not. So that means you are negating H. And they did put that in parentheses, but it's really not needed. And then they have the word or. So that would be this symbol here. And then it says we will use more foreign oil, and that is just F. They didn't negate that at all. So that is how you would write that statement. You would write negation of H or F. And then B says write the symbolic form. Let me just separate this here. That was terrible. It's hard to write vertically. Okay. Write the symbolic form of, now this one has the negation in front of the set of parentheses. So that is when you say, it is not true that. And then what's in the parentheses is an H, which is the words, we will build more hybrid cars. And then you see this symbol here, and that is the word or. And then they have an F, which is the words, we will use more foreign oil. And that's how you would translate it symbolically into English. All right. Now, a conditional. Oh, I'm sorry. We do go over all these. A conditional is expresses the notion of if, then. Let's see, I've used green and blue. I guess I'll have to use purple for this one. Okay. A conditional statement expresses the notion of if, then, and you use an arrow pointing to the right. Whatever is in front of the word if, whatever is in front of the arrow is your if statement, and whatever's behind the arrow is your then statement. So it says, suppose that P represents the Phillies win the World Series, and let's go with this color. And K represents Kiefer will win an Emmy. So we would read the statement P and then arrow K. So it's if P, then K. You would read that as if the Phillies win the World Series, then Kiefer will win an Emmy. So the arrow takes up two words in this sentence, the if and then the then. Before the arrow, which is where P is, those are the words that will go after the word if, and the words, or the statement after the arrow would be the words that go after the word then. And then in part B, it says we would write the statement, if the Phillies do not win the World Series, then Kiefer will not win an Emmy. So I'm looking at this statement, and I read the whole thing, and I'm like, okay, well, there's an if and a then there, so I know I'm going to have an arrow in the middle, and then before the arrow is going to be whatever the Phillies win the World Series, that is the P. However, they put a do not in there, and that's a negation. And then after the word then, they wrote Kiefer will not win an Emmy. Kiefer will win an Emmy is the letter K, but because they put this word not in here, that's this negation right there. So you're saying if then, that's the if then, and before the arrow, the Phillies do not win the World Series, that would be the negation of P, and then Kiefer will not win an Emmy would look like that. And if you want, you can put parentheses around this, but since it's just a negation of the letter, you don't really need them, but my math lab won't take off if you do that. And then the last connective is the biconditional. So I apologize. I said earlier that we were only going to do the first two. I'm thinking of later sections when we actually use these in truth tables. So, okay, a biconditional. I think I've used all my basic colors. Let's go with a bright pink. No, let's do orange. Let's do orange. Okay, the biconditional represents the words if and only if. If and only if. And the symbol for this is a double arrow. And I just wanted to tell you that if you're ever reading in a math book and you see IFF, that is not a typo. That does not mean if. It means if and only if. That's the symbolism for if and only if. I don't think you'll see it in this textbook, but, you know, for future use. And basically what it says is that if you reverse an if-then statement, like if you put the if where the then is and the then where the if is, it'll mean the same thing, or it'll be true both ways. So for like example, a polygon has 3 sides if and only if it is a triangle. So I could say if you have a polygon, then you have a triangle. Or sorry, if you have a polygon with 3 sides, then you have a triangle. But if I reverse it and say, if you have a triangle, then you have a polygon with 3 sides, it's the same thing. It works both ways, and that's what if and only if means. So you would have to identify, on this one they're not telling you what to do. So if I were doing this and I look at a polygon has 3 sides, since it says the word polygon, I'd probably use the letter P for that. So I'd say a polygon has 3 sides. And then you've got the words if and only if. And so that would be a double arrow symbol like that. And then I have it is a triangle, and triangle is a T, so I'd probably just use a T. You have to tell it what, so this would be that. And I'm pretty sure my math lab gives you all that information. They tell you what letters to use. Otherwise, everybody would be using different letters and it wouldn't make any sense. So there it is. And down in the solution, you can see, let P represent the statement a polygon has 3 sides. T, well, look at that. They're thinking the same way I was. T represents the statement the polygon is a triangle. Then this statement would have the form P double arrow T. And then B says the software can be returned if and only if the seal is not broken. They said let R represent the software